Okay, let me start recording. All right, so how are you, everyone? So everyone is all right? Okay, thank you, Erika. All right, good. It's a really beautiful Monday. Our week is over. Yes, I think so. Yeah, the last week actually, many students was had a very busy week. Okay, great. All right, so now it's fun time again. So I talked about your exam a little bit. Okay, I'm totally fine. With your exam scores. Okay, your performance. So I don't have any problem. Okay? So this time, students feel like the test was okay. So next quiz will be a little bit higher. Okay, I'm gonna raise a little bit. Okay, not much. Okay, so we are challenge. Okay, the higher bar. Okay, so that's it. All right. So far so good. So we don't have any problem with the test. Okay. All right. This time we don't have presentations about your simulations. Okay. Very important tool to understand the strategic management. Okay? So how to set up, how to differentiate your product, how to set up your market, and how to make decisions following these decisions. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that. We only did one round, practice round one. Okay, so we don't have many things to talk about at this time. We just made some initial decisions, and we have only one round result. Okay, so probably we wanna see what's going on. Okay, for next time, but this point I just wanna make sure. Everyone is in the same page. We are present. We're gonna discuss what we did, and then we wanna move. Okay. All right, so let's move. All right, I just wanna make sure our schedule. Okay, so presentations 2. Okay, so this is today. Probably we have 5 teams, so we're not gonna do all the teams today. So we wanna share some time. Okay, for the next meeting. Okay, March 12th. March 10th is the break day, right? It's a spring break, whatever. Okay, so. All right, so we want to talk about today. We want to talk about simulation practice round 1. What you did, okay? How was the performance? Okay, how the performance was. Okay, we want to talk about that very briefly. Okay, and then March 12th. Okay, we are continue capsule simulations practice round 2. All right, practice round 2. So based on the result of practice round 1, you want to make decisions this. Okay. All right, I'm going to emphasize this. This simulation is composed of many very simple logics. This is not a random game, all right? This is not random game, okay? You cannot just expect a luck, okay? Sometimes luck works because market. Think about the market, okay? Sometimes you decide on market, but sometimes it's very crowded. It's not unlucky. It's unlucky, right? So it's a kind of luck. But this game basically composed of a lot of logics. Okay? So you need to find these logics and understand this. This is the purpose of this game. All right? Hey. All right, then we're gonna continue. Okay? 3 more chapters. Okay? Chapter 7, International Strategy, and March 15th. Okay? Then after completing 3 more chapters, then we're gonna focus on the simulations. Okay, so I just wanna share the schedule. This schedule is exactly the same as on the as a schedule on your syllabus. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the simulations. Okay, so I don't have any other requests. So if you are fine, okay, Team Chester, wanna go first? So Team Chester, are you ready? So who is gonna be your presenter? Please let me know.
I believe Mac is our presenter.
Mac, okay. All right, Mac, you are presenter right now. Please go ahead as soon as you're ready. Oh, hold on, please. Hold on, please. So as we did before, you can visit. You can go ahead, Canvas, and then there is the evaluations survey. So on the Canvas, you can visit BUS499A presentation 2. Okay, presentation 2 surveys. Then you can evaluate. You can evaluate. Okay. You can evaluate it. So other teams' presentations. Huh? All right. So we are gonna do the same things. Okay. So you can evaluate. You can evaluate your team, other teams' presentations on Canvas. Please use BUS499A presentation 2. So everything's all right? All right, good. Good. All right, so let's just make sure. So everything's all right. You are ready to evaluate the presentations, and you are ready to make presentations too. Please say yes. All right, great. Okay. All right, so now it's time for Chester. Team Chester, please go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna start us off here. This is Team Chester, and these are our results for the end of round 1 of the simulation. It'll be me, Drew, Bailey, Sam, and Bryce.
Okay, great.
So just some significant fast track stats. We had a return on sales of about 2.7%. And then we had to dip into the emergency loans for about 32 mil, as you can see there, which is a lot of money, but hopefully this next round we can make it up. The smallest profit we got, we saw a loss of about $907,000, and then our closing stock price was around $1. And this is primarily because of our $10 dividends that we distribute. But we saw a net loss of about $907,000, like we said, and one takeaway was that we had the most produced, but this also exceeded our capacity, so we probably have to produce less next time. And our actual high tech was 5 times higher than our potential, so that was something good that we saw.
All right, I'm on for the annual report notes. For our assets, we had 0% cash. We had 7.3% in accounts receivable, 69.9% in inventory, and then we had 38.1% in plant and equipment, negative 15.2% in accumulated depreciation. Then for the liabilities part, our annual report, our total liabilities was $45,393, which was probably a little too high, 120.1%. 18% common stock, negative 38% retained earnings, negative 20.1% total equity. And that was our notes that we took for the annual report.
So for our cash flow statements, we had a net cash flow from operations of negative $22,840. We also had losses in operations and on our change in cash position. We saw gains in our financing activities, and we saw no movement in our investments.
So I just want to start by saying our main focus on this round was just understanding how to use the CAPSIM and where to go and what to look at. But our primary strategy was to have a lot of inventory in production, but we didn't do a good job of balancing the different aspects of the simulation. So for the next round, we need to focus more on the financials, as well as having more cash in our assets. And we're going to try to cut production and increase our overall stock price. We're also going to focus on a more specific strategy, such as a high volume with low price or a low volume with higher price. So this round was more just figuring out how to use CAPSIM and understanding how it works. So for the next round, we're going to focus on a more specific strategy. And that's it. It's the last slide.
Okay. So what was your strategy? So we talked about cost leadership and business product differentiation strategy, right? So both, two generic strategies. What strategies did you emphasize? Did you think about? How did you make a decision about your market? How did you make your decision about what products you produce?
So I believe we only produced one product. We didn't think it was a good idea to introduce more products at the very beginning. So we wanted to focus on just one in this round.
Okay, you produced one product. Okay, where? What space in the market? In the simulations, there are two aspects, right? So size and performance, and there is a space of market. What space?
I don't know what space anyone else on my team knows.
Actually, that is the first question you should ask to yourself. What market I need to focus on? If I focus on high-tech market, why? If I focus on low-tech market, why? Based on customers. All right.
Right. I think, yeah, that's what I was trying to say in the suggestions at the end was that we didn't have a clear strategy. And then the next round, we want to implement a more specific strategy.
Okay. So it makes sense. This is the first round. So there is no, the specific information about the market. So everything is on the same line. Okay. So you can just try any specific market, then you will see what's going on. Okay. So the mechanism of this game is actually very simple. There are simple logics. Okay. There are some information about customers. Okay. What market actually customers will prefer? Okay. You find this information. It is available in the simulations. Based on this information, you decide your own market. It can be high-tech. It is what? Product differentiation strategy. It can be low-tech. It is cost leadership strategy. Okay. So in the high-tech market, product differentiation strategy will be effective. Okay. So you will make decisions but all the functional decisions following this high-tech market. Okay? Product differentiation strategy. All right. If you choose low-tech market, that means you want to focus on cost leadership strategy, reduce cost. Okay. All right. So your decisions, functional decisions, departmental decisions should be consistent with this cost leadership strategy, reduce cost. Okay. So this is a mechanism. This is a mechanism to play this game. Okay. So basically, you're doing this. You're doing this. What? Two generic strategies. Okay? Increase product differentiation and reduce cost. Okay? So if you want to increase your product differentiations, you want to choose appropriate market for this strategy, and you want to make decisions following in your departmental decisions. Okay? And if you choose reduce cost strategy, then you just follow the cost leadership strategy. Find appropriate market based on this strategy and make following decisions consistently. Okay? Then you have, externally, internally consistent decisions. Then you have better performance. Okay? This is how this game is designed. Okay? This is important. You understand this. Okay? All right. Any question, comments? All right. So we're gonna see. What's the next? Okay. All right. So thank you, Chester. Then, if you don't have any question, we want to move to second team, Andrew. So Andrew, are you ready? Who is gonna be your presenter? Berlin. Okay. All right, brilliant. You're now the presenter. All right. So this is Team Andrew. Team 1.
All right, so this is our presentation. Just the strategy we used for round 1, and our group is Marie, me, Jack, Breland, Thomas, and Jack Fitzgerald.
So the strategy that we used was the focus strategy, which is basically when a firm decides to appeal to a narrow market segment within an industry. This requires narrow product lines, buyer segments, or targeted geographic markets. And a competitive advantage is achieved through the strategy when the firm dedicates itself to these segments exclusively.
All right, great, good.
Right, so as Marie stated, we used the focus strategy, and so in this simulation, the first round, we went forward work. I mean, we could change our strategy for when we start the real simulation, but our focus strategy was to appeal to the low tech market. Like I said, this was only the first round, so we are still working to dedicate ourselves solely to not solely, but more so to the low tech market, and we can further develop in the low tech market and get away from the high tech market, I guess. And we're going to see, I guess, how the second round goes to see if this is what we want to stick to for the real thing. And then, so what we did, since it was the first round, we were conservative in what we produced. So we only produced Able, just to see how it would work. And we did this because the primary segment of Able was low tech. And so what we saw is that we had success in both the low and high tech markets. We had more success in the low tech markets mainly because we were able to exceed our potential market. I think it was by about 3 or 4% we exceeded it. And even though we didn't reach our potential market in the high tech market, we still saw some success in it. But this was mainly due to the fact that we were focused on the low tech market and market segment, and our prices were a little bit lower, and that would have to do with why we didn't see as much success in the high tech market. And then one problem we did, everything else we did, looking at our analysis, we got a star for every single thing except contribution margin, which was 21.4%. And you want that contribution margin to be about 30% for the long run, I guess, for us to be successful in the long run. And then with this, we were thinking about that this could possibly be a chance for us to implement capacity expansion, which is a cost reduction strategy for us. And so capacity expansion strategy can be used as a preemptive strategy to lock up a major share of the market and to discourage competitors from expanding.
Mhm.
So, but it is risky, so we don't know if this is what we're going to go with. And so if we're able to, I guess, lock up that portion of the market, it'll deter, I guess, other people from entering it. But like I said, it is risky, and it might be something we do. We'll see how the second round goes. It honestly depends how the second round goes. And then another way we could help fix our contribution margin was to focus on our pricing.
Mhm.
You can increase or decrease, but I think what we needed to do, we kind of set our price a little bit low. I think that affected us. So if we were able to maybe price ours a little bit higher, we could have seen our contribution margin increase.
All right, great. Okay, please. I want to make some point here. Yeah. So, your firm should income success in both low and high tech market, but low tech market is more successful. Yeah? Because think about that. Why in some markets you are more successful? Because it's a competitive intensity. All right. So actually, if there is a high competitive, level, then probably your profit level is low. We talked about that total five forces model, right? Okay. So the intent, the low tech and high tech, it can be some, you need to see how other teams are doing in both markets. Okay? Then you have a better picture of the market. Okay? So you need to avoid the crowded market for better profits. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are very successful in the low tech market right now, then your choice is lucky, and I want to see how this market will be changing. Make sense? Yes.
Now, results. That's all that. I mean, mostly everybody had. It would be tough to do the capacity expansion because most firms only stuck with selling in the low tech market and focused on Able. So, I mean, that's kind of a deterrent from that type of. So.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the second point is that the contribution margin. Okay. So pricing strategy is always important. Okay, very important. Okay. So you are focused on the cost leadership strategy, reduce cost strategy. Then that does mean you keep lower price. We talked about that. Reduce your cost, increase product differentiations. Okay? Even your cost is reduced, okay? Your price can be maintained. All right? If you create better value, okay? Enough value. So your price is depending on your value creations, not just your strategy. So if even you choose the cost leadership strategy, okay, usually cost leadership strategy, the V's, the reduction of the price, but not always you don't need to. Not always. Okay? So it's good. It's a good point. I love it. So you need to think about your contribution margin. Okay? All right, great. Please go ahead.
Okay. Why were some firms more successful than others? Team dynamics, so how the simulation was approached by each team, delegating versus group effort. So for the first round, I think a lot of teams were still trying to figure out how to tackle the simulation. We decided to all work together through each decision, and it kind of took forever. None of us had the opportunity to read into the roles and specialize in a specific job. And after talking to other teams and reading into the manual, we realized that delegating roles will be more beneficial so that we can become a pro in our specific placement. Spending decisions also affects the success. So excessive spending versus conservative spending. It affects all aspects of the simulation. From what we can see, teams that were more frugal during the first round had a better turnout. We were more cautious with our spending because we assumed there would be more imperative expenses later on in the simulation. And then luck plays a role, especially during the practice round. So learning the game versus plugging and chugging. So much of the first round seemed like a game of trial and error. Some teams approached it with more intent, and that probably ended with a better result than those that decided to plug and chug. But now that we can see the results, we have a better idea of how it works.
All right, so you are going to change this about luck. Okay? Actually, at the beginning of the game, you feel like, this game is determined by some lucks. But, as time goes by, you learn more and more things, then, oh, this is it, this is that, something like this. You will understand the logics, you will understand the connections behind this, not just the luck. Okay? That was my experience with this game. Okay? All right, good. That's it?
That's it.
All right, great. Okay, so any question, comment? All right, so if you have any question, okay, just jump in because, you can ask some questions, try to understand better this game with your teammates or your classmates, then you can learn more things, the simulations, okay? All right, great. Okay. And the next team is Team Ari. Ari, who is gonna be presenter? And Team Baldwin and Digby. So please be sure. Please make sure you are ready. All right, Tyler. All right, Tyler, you are the presenter. Okay, so Team Baldwin and Digby, who is gonna be next? Team 2 and Team 4, who is gonna be the next one? All right, so DP first.
Okay, our group is Erie, our company.
Okay.
Okay, so I just started by just kind of naming a few textbook reasons why some teams did better than the others. Having a business plan is very important to the success and the growth of all the firms. Without a plan, there's not really a clear goal or a destination that you're trying to reach. When you start making a plan, you begin to think about effective marketing and management plans, competitions within the market. You begin to kind of target consumers' financial needs and like overall strategies that will be used to determine the outcome of your team. Another reason that some firms succeed versus fail is we have to understand that money isn't free, and sometimes when we take on too much debt, it could actually be the downfall of our firm. So we have to keep up with our records and our bookkeeping and make sure that we're not drowning in debt. Another reason is just the current world of technology is taking over. So we need to learn to like adapt to new forms of advertisement and innovation and things that will last in the long run. And also we need to make sure that we are always like estimating our competition and never underestimating them, because this could lead to like potential blind sides and panic and bad decisions. And then finding the perfect mix of differentiation and cost advantages can honestly be the difference between a successful firm and one that may not make it.
So one approach we'd like to take as a group is implementing like low cost leadership, and so different ways that would help kind of protect us. So we would just like having like it'll allow our team to perform better and show better profit yields and things like that. As far as competing with our competitors, we wouldn't have to necessarily sell as much product because our profits will be greater. It'll help kind of protect us against different buyer powers, because buyers can have the ability to kind of manipulate the market and drive down prices, and we will our strategy will allow us to adjust our price without having to further cut costs and things like that. And then it also allows us to have more flexibility when dealing with our own suppliers. And with this, it'll also it'll increase the entry barriers. With things like the new entrants, they won't be able to be as cost efficient entering the market, and then as well as substitutes. People will be able to remain competitive with our pricing and things like that.
So is your team focused on the? Oh no. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so what we did for differentiation and pricing, when we were looking through the notes of the round, we saw that in the first couple of rounds that low-tech products had a higher profitability than the high-tech products. So we decided to focus our numbers and our strategy on that. And kind of like it was mentioned earlier, there's like luxury versus common goods, which we could say is like the low tech versus the high tech. And we considered adjusting the price. We tried all kinds of prices from down to $27 up to $35. And we settled on lowering it just $1 to $33. Ultimately, we decided to lower the cost just slightly to try to gain a little bit more market share. But we didn't want to go too low where those fixed and variable costs might overtake what we would actually be selling the product for. And we also considered adding a new product, but at this stage, we didn't have enough capital or other financing options to do that. So we just decided to stick with the low tech, focusing more on the low tech product and trying to make that the best option we could. So that's what we did.
One issue, like a lot of the other groups, was our corporate contribution margin. This is the foundation of planning products based on their overall cost and sales price. It is a product's price minus all associated variable costs. With a low contribution margin, long-term success will be difficult to maintain. The contribution margin is helpful for determining the selling price range of a product. Since our company took a cost leadership strategy, the best method is to reduce labor costs by automating our plants. And we also need to lower the mean time before failure to adjust it. And that's that.
All right, so can you hear me? Okay, all right. It was disconnected, so it was a problem. But I missed some, part of your presentations. But the point I want to make is that actually your cost. Okay. So based on your presentations, you can focus on cost leadership strategy or differentiation strategy. Okay. If you focus on cost leadership strategy, you just reduce cost. This is the ultimate goal of this strategy. Then the most important thing we talked about with the textbook, okay? The point was that what? Yes, reduce fixed and variable cost. Okay? Variable cost and fixed cost. For economies of scale was very, very important in the cost leadership strategy. Okay? So in the cost leadership strategy, the economies of scale is very, very important. That means you should produce more. Okay? You should utilize all the resources. Then you can reduce fixed costs. Okay? All right. So good. All right, good. And so we're gonna we done every, and then the next thing is any question, comment? Okay, then the next is Digby, right? Team Digby. Erika, you are the presenter. So now, Erika, you are the presenter. Cash cows.
Yep, that's our group.
All right.
So for the research and development, we kind of split it up by like what we did for each section. So for research and development, we kept trying different numbers until we found the lowest total. And we looked at, there's like two circles, kind of like a Venn diagram kind of thing. And we looked at those, which is the perceptual map. And we thought about like which group we wanted to target, whether it was the high market or low market. And so then we decided we'd spent a lot of time trying to figure that out. So then that kind of set the basis and the foundation for what we did in all the other rounds was based on the numbers that we picked for this and who we wanted to target mostly.
Okay, great.
So next we moved into marketing based off the ideas that we got from the perceptual map. So we tried to set a price based on the segment we were targeting, which we decided to focus mainly on the high-tech segment while still trying to include the low-tech segment. So we set our price accordingly. Then we tried to figure out what's best to use for the promo and sales budget for our awareness and our accessibility to the customers. We figured out that if you went too high for us, it actually ended up hurting us in the long run. So we had to try to find that little sweet spot in the middle. And then for our sales forecast, we didn't want to over forecast it and under promise what we were selling because that would have hurt our brand reputation of our product to the customers. So we tried to be rather conservative in that effort. And then also with the accounts receivable and payable lag days, we just kind of plugged in random numbers and found whichever one worked best for us in the end and the overall numbers. And then we tried to maximize our contribution and profit margins. So we pretty much just used all these options together based off R&D, which moved into marketing, and just tried to figure out which one would best benefit us as a company.
Great, good.
So like Brent was saying that the marketing also kind of poured over into the production HR that based off of the predictions in the benchmark, that's how we determined the production unit and how many we want to produce. Based off of our AP lag, we wanted to pay the vendors on time because based off of our research, we found out that if we stretch this time out longer, there could be a lag in when we get our product in, like from the vendors. So we wanted to get that on time. The staffing goal was to have the largest amount of completed percentage as possible, because this would help us to be able to not be holding back any financial money, like financial resources for hiring overtime workers and that kind of stuff, and recruiting and then training them. If we kept the completement percentage as high as possible, that was giving us that positive result there. And then with the charts, we mainly just were trying to make sure that we were keeping it even balanced between the labor capacity and the production, because that was giving us the best results in the final outcome.
Okay.
Okay, so for finance, really what we were trying to do is, with everything bleeding into each other and really culminating into that section, we were trying to balance our debt, and then our stocks issued and our stock price, and kind of messing around with that and really learning how everything interplays there. And then the second thing that was very helpful was the liability and equity chart, which is like in the top right, I think, if I remember correctly. So that was a good kind of visualization of that. And really, we were just striving to achieve a result that focused on having a good revenue stream, but also how we could maintain long-term profitability.
All right, great.
So in conclusion, we all think that our first practice round was a good learning experience on like how to use Capstone and what was expected for like the real rounds. And we learned a lot of that there are a lot of variables that go into every single category, and whether they're right or wrong, they're all pretty important when making decisions. And we also found that communication within the group was pretty key in making decisions, because when we all met together, we had an easier time of coming to certain decisions.
All right, good points. So now we are in the practice round 1. So it's a learning curve. Okay, it's a learning point. Okay, it's a learning experience. Don't worry about that. Okay. So actually, it seems that your team is on the right path. Okay, you're in the exactly right path. You are running, something. Okay, and go back to the previous slide, please. The finance one. All right, finance things. Okay? So finance can be a relatively stable decision making based on this the mechanism of this game. Okay, so if you have a sound, very good, the initial strategy of finance, okay, probably your finance strategy will be very, very stable. Okay, but the problem is, okay. So you need to utilize your older resources, because you don't need to keep it up. Okay? You don't need to keep it, because if you just keep it, it's a waste. Okay? So you utilize your older resources, available resources. Okay? So, but it is not prepared. It's not planned very well. You will have experience of emergency loan in this game. Okay, in this game, emergency loan is like something like the default. Okay, it's very not a good situation. So you will be penalized a lot. Okay, a lot of cost. So you should watch out. That's it. Okay, so your team. It seems that your team is on the right path right now. Okay, so don't worry about it. Keep up the good work. Okay. Then I just want to make this point for everyone. Okay, great, good. So now we did 4 teams like a DB. So we have one more team. Any question, comment? Okay. So we have one more team, Baldwin, but we don't have enough time. Okay, it's already over. So next time we are gonna continue. We are gonna continue Baldwin's presentations. Then we move to the next round. Okay, practice round 2. All right, practice round 2 for next time. Okay, all right, good job, good job. My impression from your presentations: some teams are already have very good level of understanding with this game. Okay, some teams are learning, some teams are improving. Okay, so we wanna see it. We wanna see it. Okay, but the basic point is that you choose strategy, cost leadership or product differentiation. Then make decisions following this strategy. This is the mechanism of this game. Okay. Any question, comment? All right, then I will see you. I will see you on Wednesday. We're gonna continue. Simulation, presentation, and simulations. All right, good job. You did a good job today. I'm gonna see you on Wednesday. Yeah, it's a Friday. Oh, not Wednesday. This Wednesday is a break day. Yes, Friday. This Friday.